The rain fell heavily over the old colonial rooftops of Sobral that night. The year was 1987, and the small city slept under a curtain of thunder. At the edge of the town square, the white walls of the Church of Our Lady of the Rosary gleamed under the lightning. Inside, Father Miguel, a man in his 40s with calm eyes and tired hands, was finishing his nightly prayers when he heard it. A faint, desperate knock. At first, he thought it was the wind. But then came the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. When he opened the heavy wooden doors, his breath caught. There, wrapped in a soaked blue blanket, was a newborn baby girl. Her cheeks were red from the cold, and around her tiny neck hung a medal of the Virgin Mary, tied with a faded ribbon. Next to her lay a piece of paper crumpled and trembling from the rain. On it, written in shaky handwriting, were just 3 words: "Forgive me. Protect her." Father Miguel froze. His heart pounded in his chest. He looked around, but the street was empty. Whoever had left the child was already gone, swallowed by the storm. He picked up the baby gently, whispering, "Hush, little one. You're safe now." The church bells echoed faintly as he carried her to the rectory, wrapping her in his coat. By morning, word had spread across Sobral. A baby was found at the church door. People gathered outside, curious, some whispering that it was a sign from heaven, others fearing it was a sinful secret left to God. The local orphanage came to take the baby, but Father Miguel refused. "She will stay under the church's care," he said firmly. "She was brought here by faith, and faith will raise her." He named her Ana Clara. Years passed, and the little girl grew up surrounded by candlelight, rosaries, and the smell of incense. She had bright brown eyes, a curious smile, and a gentle nature that made everyone in the parish love her. Dona Zuleide, a devout widow who helped clean the church, took her in as her own daughter, giving Ana warmth, laughter, and home-cooked meals. Ana loved to sing. By the age of 9, her voice filled the chapel every Sunday morning. People said it was like listening to an angel. Yet deep inside, Ana often stared at the medal she wore every day, the same one found with her at the door, and wondered, who left me there? Why? Sometimes she'd find Father Miguel watching her quietly from the pews, his gaze filled with something more than care, something closer to sorrow. Whenever she asked about that night, he would simply smile and say, "The Lord works in mysterious ways, my child." But as Ana grew older, the mystery around her birth began to cast longer shadows. Why did the priest never allow her to see the parish records? Why did some elders stop talking when she entered the room? And what about the folded note she once found hidden behind the Virgin's statue? The same handwriting, the same trembling letters? One night, Ana dreamed of rain again, and the sound of someone crying behind the church door. But she wasn't a baby anymore. She was knocking. And this time, someone was waiting on the other side. If you're already feeling the mystery behind Ana Clara's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. The truth that Father Miguel is hiding will change everything. By the time Ana Clara turned 14, the once lively bells of the Church of Our Lady of the Rosary had grown quieter. The small town of Sobral had changed, but whispers never did. They followed her like invisible hands tugging at her past. "Poor thing," some women would murmur after Mass. "So pretty, and no mother to guide her." "She's the one the priest found at the door, isn't she?" another would whisper. Maybe her mother was one of those girls who disappeared that year. Ana pretended not to hear. She focused on her studies, her choir, her faith. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. One afternoon, while helping Dona Zuleide polish the altar's silver candlesticks, Ana asked casually, "Do you remember the night I was found?" Zuleide froze for a heartbeat too long. "Child," she said softly, "some memories are better left in God's hands." It wasn't the first time Ana had heard that phrase. Everyone in Sobral seemed to repeat it whenever she asked about her past, even Father Miguel. Especially Father Miguel. But one small detail began to haunt her, a faded, half-burned photograph she stumbled upon in the church basement. It was tucked inside an old hymnal between yellowed pages. The photo showed the corner of the church and a young woman smiling faintly, holding a small bouquet of white lilies. The lower half of the picture had been torn away, but one thing caught Anna's breath. The woman's dimple, on the right side of her cheek, just like hers. Before she could study it further, a shadow moved behind her. "Where did you find that?" Father Miguel's voice echoed softly but firmly. Startled, Ana turned around. "It was just lying here, and who is she?" He reached out, took the photo from her hands, and looked at it for a long moment. "She was someone from the parish, long ago," he finally said. "Let it rest, Ana. Please." There was something in his tone, fear, maybe regret, that made her heart tighten. She wanted to ask more, but he walked away, leaving her with silence thicker than stone. Weeks passed. The mystery only grew heavier. At school, Ana began winning writing contests, earning local recognition for her essays about truth and forgiveness. Her teachers praised her, and for the first time, she felt seen for more than her unknown past. But every time she looked at that altar, where the light hit the Virgin's face just right, she couldn't shake the feeling that the truth was hidden somewhere near. Then, one evening, as the choir practiced, an old man cleaning the confessional stopped and looked at her strangely. "You have her eyes," he muttered. "Whose?" she asked, startled. He shook his head. "I shouldn't have said anything." "Please," she begged. "Tell me what you know." But the man only crossed himself and whispered, "Ask the Father. He's the only one who knows why your mother cried that night." Her chest tightened. "You mean—" He saw her, but the old man had already turned away, muttering prayers as he walked out into the fading light. That night Ana lay awake in her small room, staring at the wooden crucifix above her bed. The same words looped in her mind. Ask the Father. The next morning she tried, but Father Miguel was gone, called to a nearby parish for urgent duties. No one knew when he would return, so Ana began to search alone. She returned to the basement where she'd found the photo. Beneath the dust and candle wax, she discovered something else. A small wooden box carved with a cross. Inside, wrapped in a piece of cloth, was a folded note written in the same shaky handwriting as the one found with her years ago. Only 2 words this time. "Forgive him." Ana's heart pounded. Forgive who? Was the message from her mother, from the priest, or someone else entirely? The rain began to fall again outside, like it always did when truth was about to surface in Sobral. And somewhere in the dark, perhaps in the silence of his prayers, Father Miguel trembled. Years passed. Sobral became too small for Ana's growing questions. By the time she turned 24, she was no longer the quiet girl who sang in the church choir. She was now a journalism student in Fortaleza, determined to tell stories that the world wanted to forget. But there was one story she had never been able to write. Her own. Life in the capital was noisy, fast, full of people and light. Yet every night when the city dimmed, Ana would take out her small box, the medal, the note, and now the mysterious "Forgive him" message, and stare at them in silence. Each object felt like a fragment of a sentence she still couldn't read. Her best friend at the university, Rafa, noticed her distant eyes. "You're always digging into other people's stories," he said one night. "Why not start with your own?" Ana smiled faintly. "Because mine might destroy someone else's." Rafa leaned forward. "Then maybe that someone needs to face it." That simple phrase planted a seed. Within weeks, Ana began collecting every possible record she could find from Sobral's parish and city archives. But something strange happened. Several documents from 1987 were missing. Baptism logs, adoption reports, even the parish donation book from that year had been accidentally lost in a flood. Flood, she muttered bitterly. How convenient. Still, Ana refused to give up. She took a trip back to Sobral, pretending to visit old friends. Father Miguel was now older, frailer, and his once bright eyes had turned into something heavy with exhaustion. When she arrived at the rectory, he looked surprised and afraid. "My child," he said, forcing a smile. "I never thought you'd come back." "I had to," Ana answered. "I need to know who I am." The silence that followed was colder than the chapel walls. "You are who God made you to be," he whispered. She shook her head. "No, Father. You're the one who knows what he's been hiding." But before he could answer, Dona Zuleide appeared at the door, trembling. "Leave him be, Ana. He's not well." That night, Ana stayed at Zuleide's house. The old woman confessed she had found Father Miguel praying and crying more than usual these past months. "Something's eating his soul," she said, "but I don't think he's the villain here." Days later, Ana and Rafa met with Dona Nair, an 80-year-old midwife who had helped deliver most babies in Sobral during the 80s. Her hands trembled as she poured them coffee. "There were rumors," she said, her voice breaking. "A girl came to me one night, pregnant, scared to death. She said a powerful man would kill her if anyone found out. I helped her give birth, right before dawn. The next day, the priest came to bless the child." Ana's pulse raced. "Did she say her name?" Dona Nair looked away. "No, she just asked me to tell him something." "What?" The old woman's eyes filled with tears. "She said, 'Tell Miguel I'm sorry.'" Ana froze. "Miguel? You mean—" "Yes," the midwife said quietly. "The priest." The room fell silent. Rafa leaned forward, his voice low. So Father Miguel knew the mother. Maybe even helped hide her. Ana stared at the crucifix on the wall. "Then what happened to her?" Dona Nair shook her head. "She vanished." The next week, the old colonel's men came asking questions. Everyone was too afraid to speak. The colonel, the same name she had read in old local newspapers connected to illegal land seizures and assaults. A man feared by all, especially young women. That night, Ana couldn't sleep. Her mind was a storm. She went to the church again, sneaking through the side door. There, behind the altar, she found something she had never noticed before. A small wooden panel slightly loose on the wall. She pried it open and found a dusty cassette tape inside, labeled simply, "Confession." Her hands trembled as she placed it in her old recorder. A woman's voice cracked through the static, trembling and desperate. "Please, protect my daughter. He will find us. Tell him. I love her." Ana covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. The voice, it was soft, broken, but eerily familiar. "Who are you?" Ana whispered to the silence. "And what did Father Miguel promise you?" Outside, thunder rolled across the sky, just like that night in 1987. And somewhere, far away, Father Miguel woke up from his sleep, calling her name. When Ana returned to Sobral weeks later, the town felt different, smaller, older, quieter. The streets that once smelled of fresh bread and mango trees now carried a strange heaviness. Father Miguel was in the hospital. The doctors said it was his heart. "He keeps muttering a name," the nurse whispered. "Mariana, do you know who that is?" Ana didn't. Not yet. She stood by his bedside, the sound of the machines filling the room like the echo of an unanswered prayer. His eyes opened slowly, cloudy but still kind. "Ana," he whispered, "you came back." "I found the tape," she said quietly. "Who was she?" He swallowed hard. "You shouldn't have—" "I need to know, Father. Please." He turned away, his voice trembling. "If I tell you, you'll never see me the same again." "I already don't," she said. There was silence. Then, with a sigh that sounded like 40 years of guilt, Father Miguel began to speak. "Her name was Mariana," he said. "She was 17, my sister." Ana's heart stopped. She came to me one night, terrified. She'd been hurt by a man with power. The colonel everyone feared. She was pregnant, desperate, and He closed his eyes, tears forming. "I tried to protect her. I hid her in the parish, helped her through the birth, but she refused to leave the child behind. She said God would punish her if she did. So why was I left at the church door?" Ana's voice shook. "Because the colonel's men found out. They were coming that night. I had no choice. I told her I would make sure the baby was safe. I begged her to run. She placed you in my arms, kissed your forehead and whispered, 'Forgive me.' Then she disappeared into the storm." Ana stepped back, trembling. "You lied to me my whole life. I lied to protect you," he said weakly. "If anyone knew who your mother was, or who your father might have been, they would have come for you too. But she could still be alive." Ana insisted. "You never looked for her?" I tried, he said. For years. All I found was a diary she left behind. It's hidden beneath the old altar. I couldn't destroy it, but I couldn't read it either. Ana's eyes filled with tears. You should have told me. I wanted to, he whispered. Every time you sang in church, every time I saw your smile, her smile, but I was a coward. Ana held his hand. You weren't. You were human. He smiled faintly. You sound just like her. Moments later, he drifted into sleep, exhausted. Ana left the hospital with her heart in pieces. Anger, sorrow, relief, love, all tangled into something she couldn't name. The next morning, she went to the church. It had been years since she'd stepped into that place alone. Dust floated in the sunlight through the stained glass windows. She knelt before the altar, pulled aside the old tapestry, and felt along the wood until her fingers found a loose panel. Inside was a small, leather-bound book, Mariana's diary. The pages were fragile, the ink faded, but the words still burned. If one day she reads this, tell her I did not abandon her. I saved her the only way I could. I pray that Miguel forgives me, and that she finds me through love, not revenge. At the end of the diary was an address scrawled hastily, Fazenda Santa Lucia, Granja. Ana gasped. That was deep in the Sertão, a place once owned by the colonel's family. She closed the diary, heart pounding. This was her chance, her mother's last breadcrumb. Outside, Rafa was waiting in the car. Did you find something? He asked. Yes, she said, her voice steady. Everything. They drove for hours along the red dirt roads of Ceará, past dried rivers and silent hills. The closer they got to Granja, the heavier the air became. When they arrived at the small farmhouse, an old woman was sitting on the porch, shelling beans. Her eyes lifted, and for a moment, she froze. Ana stepped forward. Are you Dona Alzira? The woman nodded slowly. Who's asking? Ana held out the medal, the same one found with her in 1987. The woman's hands began to shake. That medal, it was Mariana's. Ana's voice broke. I'm her daughter. The old woman's lips parted, and tears spilled down her face. I knew it, she whispered. I always knew she didn't die. The truth was closer than ever. But what Ana didn't know yet was that the colonel's secret still lingered in that land, and some ghosts refused to stay buried. The old farmhouse at Fazenda Santa Lucia was quiet, except for the sound of the wind rustling through the dry fields. Ana and Rafa followed Dona Alzira inside. The air smelled of old wood and coffee, and memories that refused to fade. I thought she had died, Alzira whispered, running her fingers over the medal. Mariana left one night and never came back. The soldiers came after her. I prayed every day to know what happened. Ana's throat tightened. She's my mother, isn't she? Alzira nodded, tears glistening. My daughter. She was strong. Too strong for this world. When she fell in love with the wrong man, I warned her. But he was powerful, dangerous. When she tried to leave, he sent men after her. That's when she ran to your uncle, Father Miguel. Ana's heart stopped. So he was really my uncle? Yes, Alzira said softly. He was a good man. He protected her, even when it meant lying to everyone, including you. Rafa glanced toward the window. And the colonel? The old woman's eyes hardened. Still alive, but he's nothing now. His sons run what's left of his land. They don't like old secrets being dug up. A chill ran through the room. As if on cue, a pickup truck roared down the dusty road outside. Two men stepped out, shadows against the orange dusk. Looks like visitors, Rafa murmured. Alzira's face went pale. Go to the back, she whispered. That's the colonel's eldest. He won't want you here. But Ana didn't move. For 24 years, she had lived in fear of questions. Not anymore. She walked out to the porch, clutching the medal in her hand. The man stopped in front of her, his boots crunching on the dirt. You shouldn't be here, girl, he said. This place doesn't belong to your kind. Ana looked him straight in the eye. This place belonged to my mother before it ever belonged to your family. The man's face froze. Who told you that name? Mariana, she said, your father's sin, my mother's pain. I came to end it. For a moment, the only sound was the wind through the dry grass. Then the man turned away. You can't rewrite the past. No, Ana said quietly. But I can make sure it's remembered. He didn't speak again. When he and his men finally left, the silence that followed was almost sacred. Later that night, under the dim glow of a kerosene lamp, Dona Alzira showed Ana a small box she had kept hidden for decades. Inside were letters Mariana had sent after her escape. Never delivered. Never read. Dear Mama, if you're reading this, it means we're safe. Tell Miguel I forgive him. Tell my daughter I loved her first. Ana pressed the paper to her chest. She didn't abandon me, she whispered. She saved me. Tears fell freely now. Hers, Alzira's, even Rafa's. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance again, like the night of Ana's birth. Days later, back in Sobral, Father Miguel lay in his hospital bed fading fast. Ana walked in quietly and took his hand. I found her, she said softly. I found the truth. He smiled faintly. Then my soul can rest. There's one thing you still need to hear, Ana said. She forgave you. His eyes filled with tears. And you? Ana leaned closer, whispering, so do I. His breath caught. Then slowly, his hand went still. Ana wept, not for the lies, not for the years lost, but for the love that had tried against all odds to protect her. Weeks later, Ana stood again at the church door where her story began. The same wooden steps, the same bell tower. But this time she wasn't a baby left behind. She was a woman who had found every missing piece of herself. She placed the medal on the doorstep and smiled. Thank you for protecting me, she whispered. Now I'll protect your story. As she walked away, the first drops of rain began to fall, soft, cleansing like forgiveness itself. And in that small town, under the same storm that once carried her into the world, Ana Clara finally became free. If this story moved you, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Would you have done what Father Miguel did, or would you have told the truth sooner?